All right, so let's just jump right in. When I say the word angel, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it one of those cute, chubby babies with little wings from an old painting? Or maybe it's one of those wild, biblically accurate angel memes you've seen all over the internet. You know the ones. The truth is, there's a ton of confusion out there. So our goal here is to cut through all that noise and get into what the Bible actually says about these incredible beings.
And this slide, this really shows the huge gap, doesn't it? On one hand, our cultural expectation is all about these soft, gentle, almost harmless figures. But the reality described in the Bible? Wow, that's something else entirely. We're talking about fiery, six-winged giants, bizarre whirling wheels just covered in eyes, and warriors so powerful that just seeing one could literally make a person pass out from pure terror. So where in the world do these descriptions come from? Well, to really get it, we've got to start right at the top. We're heading into the spiritual realm, to the very center of it all, to meet the beings who operate closest to the presence of God Himself. Let's explore the heavenly inner circle.
Okay, first up, the Seraphim. And their name basically tells you everything you need to know. It means the burning ones. These are fiery beings with 6 wings, and they exist so close to the blinding glory of God that they have to use 4 of those wings just to shield themselves. They use 2 to cover their face and 2 to cover their feet, all out of pure, overwhelming reverence. Their entire existence is just dedicated to non-stop worship.
And this is what they cry out constantly, day and night. Now, here's a cool little detail. In ancient Hebrew, the way you really emphasize something is by repeating it. So saying something is holy, holy means it's extremely holy. But repeating it 3 times? That is the absolute ultimate emphasis. It means God's holiness is infinite, on a level that is completely and totally separate from everything else in existence.
Next, let's talk about the cherubim. Look, if the seraphim are the worshipers, you can think of the cherubim as the elite guardians, kind of like the Secret Service of heaven. These are incredibly powerful, multi-faced beings. Remember, after Adam and Eve were exiled from the Garden of Eden, it was cherubim with a flaming sword who were stationed to guard the path back to the tree of life. They are the protectors of God's holy spaces and divine mysteries.
And here they are, the beings that launched 1,000 memes, the Ophanim, or the wheels. The prophet Ezekiel describes them as these unbelievable, intersecting gyroscopic wheels, just covered all over with eyes, that can move in any direction, instantly, without even turning. And no, they're not just rolling around at random. They move in perfect sync with the cherubim, as part of this mind-bending celestial chariot for God's throne. It's meant to symbolize His all-seeing, all-knowing presence everywhere at once.
Okay, so we've been hanging out in the throne room. Now, let's kind of zoom out a little and focus on the angels who really step into the spotlight in the biblical story, the ones who are actually given names. These aren't just part of the background scenery. They are key players sent on very specific, high-stakes missions.
And here are the 2 heavy hitters you've probably heard of. On the left, you've got Michael, the archangel. Now, archangel means chief or principal angel, and his name is actually a question: who is like God? He's the celestial general, the top warrior you see going head-to-head with Satan himself. Then on the right, you have Gabriel. His role is basically in the name angel itself. He's the messenger. Gabriel is the one delivering news that changes the entire course of human history, like, telling Mary she was going to give birth to Jesus.
But here's the thing. Michael and Gabriel are not working alone, not even close. Beyond these famous commanders, there is a massive, almost incomprehensibly huge angelic workforce out there, carrying out God's will all across the universe.
This is what the Bible calls the heavenly host. And you need to know, this isn't just a quaint term for a choir. It's a military term. It means a vast, organized army. The scriptures talk about 10,000 times 10,000 of them, which was basically the ancient way of saying a number so big you can't even count it.
And if you want a little taste of the kind of power we're talking about, just look at this number. The book of 2 Kings tells a story where a single angel took down an entire Assyrian army, 185,000 soldiers, in one single night. That's the power packed into just one of these beings. So what do all these countless angels actually do? Well, they have a pretty wide range of jobs. They're called ministering spirits, sent to protect and help believers. They deliver messages, and sometimes they do it disguised as ordinary people. And, like we just saw with that army, they can also be agents of divine judgment. All of a sudden, it makes perfect sense why the first words an angel almost always says to a human are, "Do not be afraid."
But that's not the whole story, because not all angels stayed on the side of good. To really get the full picture, we have to look at the other side of the spiritual war. We have to talk about the origin of Satan and his followers. So, this is absolutely crucial. Satan wasn't created evil. The scriptures hint that he was once a high-ranking, anointed cherub, an angel of incredible wisdom and beauty. But pride, a desire to be God instead of serving God, led him to rebel against his own creator. This rebellion sparked a massive war in heaven. He lost, and he was cast out, becoming Satan, a name that literally means the adversary. And he did not fall alone. The Bible paints the staggering picture of a third of the entire heavenly host choosing to follow him in that rebellion. These are the beings we now call demons. So it's really important to get this. They aren't some other separate species of evil creature. They are angels who made a choice to reject God.
And now, their mission is the exact opposite of the loyal angels. They actively work to tempt and deceive humanity into rebelling against God. The Bible even talks about them having influence over entire nations. There's this wild story about a spiritual being called the Prince of Persia who physically battled a messenger angel for weeks. They can also possess individuals, and some are even connected to specific sins, like mammon, which was the term Jesus used for the corrupting, enslaving power of greed.
So we've got these incredible, terrifying, powerful beings on both sides of this cosmic conflict. But what's the point? I mean, why are all these strange and sometimes scary details even in the Bible in the first place? Why does any of this matter to us?
At the end of the day, this is the key. You have to remember that the Bible isn't trying to be an encyclopedia of the spiritual world, like some kind of Dungeons and Dragons monster manual. It gives us these glimpses, for sure, but the details about angels and demons are always there to serve a much bigger story, to show the absolute power and authority of God, and to highlight his plan to rescue humanity through Jesus Christ, who has complete authority over all of them.
And that kind of leaves us with this final question to think about. If the point isn't just to give us a catalog of cool or scary creatures, then what is the ultimate reason for revealing this unseen world? What does the reality of this spiritual war, fought by these incredible beings, tell us about the true stakes of our own lives and the world we think we see every day? It's a pretty powerful reminder that there is way more going on than what just meets the eye.